This is your main man RJ from the Ringside Rant, heard only on the Visionaries Wrestling Network. So go over and subscribe across all your major platforms, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher to hear every great interview I have every Monday on the Visionaries Wrestling Network. Go over and follow the show's page on Twitter @_Ringside Rant. Follow the network's page @BizWrestleNet. And, as always, embrace the vision.
If you like podcasts and you are listening on Backbreaker Media, then you should listen to me, Chris Parrish,
and myself, Mania,
and the Sounds of Struggle, because we are literally the most entertaining duo you'll ever come across in Western Canadian wrestling, baby.
We talk about things like wrestling
and other sports we like.
Wrestling.
But we won't talk about other sports that we don't like, because it's not that kind of podcast.
Like wrestling.
I mean, we like hockey.
And wrestling.
And we like football.
And wrestling.
And we also like to drink beer.
While wrestling.
Well, not while wrestling, but while watching wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to get into a conversation with Maniac and Chris Parrish, then you need to tune into the Sounds of Struggle live on Backbreaker Media.
Every Thursday.
Is when we hope to drop, but sometimes Mike Malawany doesn't do his job right.
Or we're too drunk to forget.
Yeah, that happens too.
Yeah.
He can bleep out the swear word, because we weren't supposed to do that.
Oh,
but
I'll try not to swear. I can't do it.
Yeah. Let's face it, the two of us, we're real.
And spectacular.
And we're a little bit of all right.
Yeah.
Well, so strugglicious.
That we are.
That was kind of the cue. Supposed to be a strugglicious.
Oh, sorry, I'm drunk.
Yeah. So, if you don't want to listen to us, then no, you're stupid, because we're entertaining. And if you want to listen to us, then come listen to us on Backbreaker Media.
Yeah.
Later,
he said.
Later, bitches.
Anyway, so welcome to Double Down Wrestling Podcast with KJ. We do not have Mike the Ref, we do not have Spencer, but I'm continuing on with bringing on some of my favorite humans ever. So today we have Chris Parrish.
I'm a human.
You're a human. You're one of my favorite humans in the entire world. Would you like to...
entire time I thought I was a tree. But
I don't know. You could be. But I've seen the way you move in the ring. There's no way that you're a tree.
I'm a very athletic tree.
Yeah, there you go. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit? How did we meet? That's the one question I always bring up when I bring in guests.
Well, we met pretty much your first day of training.
Yep.
When you came to a minicamp.
I didn't actually come to a minicamp. I just showed up because I knew I wanted to do it. So I didn't do a minicamp. I just showed up and started. Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of totally someone else.
Yep.
Yeah, I know exactly that one is. You guys look very much alike, too. That was actually the funny thing.
Oh, that's frightening. Anyways, yeah, that's how we met.
Yep.
And you are... Okay, well, there's a few questions I need to bring up about you first. But you've been wrestling since you were, what, 17, right?
18.
18.
I actually officially started training in August of 2004. My first match was November of 2004.
Damn.
So, 14 years.
I was a kid.
Almost. Yeah.
I was barely in
And as
school.
of today, I'm now 6 years running in the PWI Top 500.
Okay, I was going to bring that up. Congratulations. I didn't want to text it to you because I wanted to congratulate you over podcast. So I was waiting. Congratulations. So what number are you this year?
I don't even know.
I think you're...
I want to say 491.
Yeah, because you're not, out of the boys I know,
the funny thing
you're like second.
The funny thing is about this list, I don't care about what number I am.
See, and that's the thing I was going to ask you, is like, you don't care.
No, I just want to be on the list.
Oh, there you go.
Because when I'm on there, if you look at, like, what I write down, all I do is put the places I go to over so people can see their eyes on there. A lot of people make the mistake of just talking about themselves, which is fine, but I find this as a tool to help other people who don't know who you are to see where you go and then what you're doing, so they can actually have an idea of where they can find you.
That's a really good idea. What made you decide to do that, though?
Because Vance, Nevada taught me to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense considering the fact that, well, you wrestle for like a million different companies, really. Like 5?
3
That's
every
a million
month
right there.
now.
5 is a million in my mind.
I don't want you doing my taxes ever.
Well, I took calculus. I don't know anything about taxes. Okay, and that brings me to my first question that I had to bring up because I was really intrigued to hear your opinion on this topic. So in the last few days on social media, there's been an outrage about Bayley's superfan being in the ring.
Bayley's superfan?
Yeah, Izzy. Did you hear about that?
No.
You didn't hear that? Oh
No.
my god. Okay, so long story short, she's been training to wrestle.
Is that the little one that's with it at the NXT show?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did you see that?
Yeah,
And
I don't want to know why, but the only one I totally remember her. I remember her for 2 ones. That's the one Bayley had those snap bracelets, and she gave her one, and then cried when it was her goodbye show. Those are the 2 I firmly remember.
I thought you were gonna bring up when her and Sasha had their Iron Man match, and Sasha made her ball her eyes out. That's the one I thought you were gonna bring up. That's how I remember her, is her crying when Sasha stole her headband. That's iconic.
Here's something that people might actually be surprised with. If you want to bore me, put on a Sasha Banks match.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am not into her much as a wrestler. I think she's very sloppy on her spots.
Okay.
And I think she goes too hard, too much. I don't know how
she commits 110 for absolutely everything.
I understand their passion and stuff like that, but I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of her work as much as I am other people.
See, I brought this up the other day. I can't remember where I was talking about. Oh, actually,
I can also see her being a gigantic bitch outside.
Well, and I feel because she lives the way she does, she just has lives with no I don't want to say no regrets because that's not the right word I'm looking for. She gives no shit. Well, essentially, you know what I mean? But so later on, we're going to play half of the podcast I had with Jenna, and we talked about this, and I said, Sasha brought me back into wrestling to start watching it again, but I watch Bayley matches because I feel like I wrestle like Bayley. So I watch her matches if I want ideas. So I brought that up. But.
See, what I don't like, and this is just a general thing, I don't like when people say that they are the best when they're not. I don't think Sasha's even close. She wouldn't even be in my top 5 in WWE right now, and that's just the main roster.
Okay.
I think Bayley's better than her. I think Charlotte's better than her. I think Becky is the best in the entire company right now.
Hands down, Becky is up there.
I think Alexa is killing it right now.
Yeah. As much as I'm not, I've never been a huge fan of her, I'll admit it, but you've got to give credit when credit's due.
But she is the one and few women on that roster that when the crowd goes to take over her during a promo, she's good enough to bring it back.
Yeah.
And
I'll give her that,
and that's the thing. Microphone and the mic skills in WWE are so essential that more women, I think, need to learn how to do it. And I think Alexa, that's one of her strengths. And then her wrestling is going up. And right now, I think another person who's killing it, that's super underrated right now, is Carmella.
Yes. When I watched her match with Charlotte, I was just finally, it's almost like she broke through a wall.
I think that has a lot to do with Charlotte, but I do think
guaranteed, but yeah.
Having her have the title was a great idea of getting her to get her confidence.
Yep.
Having her to get more over, and then having her in a position to work with good workers. The one thing I hated was James Ellsworth.
Yeah, I don't see why they brought him back the second time.
Because I don't understand.
They brought him back for, 2 weeks?
Well, one, didn't she fire him?
Yes. She kicked him to the curb so hard that he should have never been able to walk back.
So what kind of a man then wants to come back to the same person that treated him literally like a dog?
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Especially when they let go of him again, less than a month later, right?
Well, I think he never actually signed a contract with the company. He was always on a pay-per-appearance thing. I think that's...
Yeah, which was only on SmackDown, I think.
Yeah. So he never did live events,
know.
I don't think. He just did TV.
No, I don't think he
pay-per-views.
did, yeah. But, okay, backtrack.
Yeah.
I need to hear your opinion. What do you think about a 12-year-old being in the ring? What do you think?
Well,
what do you think about that? Because you've been in the business so long that I just want to hear what you got to say.
There's plenty of those in Alberta too.
Well,
I think at a certain point in age, you're not mature enough, whether it's physical or emotionally, or really any other way. I don't think 12 years old you should be worrying about too much about the wrestling, because you can get hurt easily.
Mm-hmm.
The business aspect of it can break people, and I've seen it break people who are very much older and more mature. It's an ugly side of the business. It's one thing if she's slowly training, but I think she should learn to be a kid and then do it when she's a lot more mature from a body standpoint and a maturity from a psychological standpoint. Because she's going to wreck a lot of her childhood if she commits it right now. There's nothing wrong with having a passion and a dream, but, I mean, you don't want to regret it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't want to regret not having a childhood.
Well, and I think also the fact is...
I'm also an old man now, so...
Well, you're not that old. You're still like a baby in wrestling years, basically.
I try not to act my age, but...
No,
I'm also very protective of people.
Yes, you are. Which I love. But, no, I think... I kind of brought up, when I was talking about this with Mike the Ref, I kind of brought up how Paige started training before she was 13, I think it was.
Her mom was wrestling when she was pregnant with her.
Yeah, I remember Paige saying she was, like, wrestling in the womb or something, but...
No wonder she retired so young.
Well, that's the thing. I said, man, the girl, I don't know if, maybe, who knows, it might have had something to do with the fact that she started training
Actually,
when
it was
she was
Sasha
12.
Banks.
Well...
Kicked her in the back of the head.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that. But it's just like, I feel like her career would have been different if she didn't wrestle at the age of 13 when she's going through crucial growth spurts. Maybe. But at the same time, I think it's also different if your parents are in the business compared to if they're not. This girl's parents are not in the business. Like, how are they going to be able to, like, I don't want to say protect her, but, like, they don't know the business. They know the fan side of it. But, like, Paige had her entire family already in the business. Yeah, but you know what I mean? So I feel like psychologically, like what you were saying, like you should be a kid. She was going to grow up around it, but I just don't think kids should wrestle or be in shows until they're 16 and up.
I think having parents in the business can be a good thing, can be a bad thing.
Oh, yeah.
They may be the reason why you get somewhere when you don't belong. That can create heat backstage. That's not a good thing. But at the same time, they can give you advice that they've learned to have, or that, like, from experiences they had that help you moving forward so you don't make the same mistake. That could be a good thing. I just go back to the fact that instead of just learning how to train, learn little things about wrestling. Like, if you're going to learn how to train, well...
Be a valet, be
thing.
a manager.
Learn the entire atmosphere of what it takes to do a show. Like, learn to, help with tickets, or 50/50s, or work on a mission booth, or work a merch booth. Little things like that, and understanding the whole idea about it, because there's so much to go into wrestling that a lot of people still don't know, because all they do is go and train, but then they forget the business side of it. Also, if she doesn't enjoy this now, she might learn, or she might grow up not enjoying wrestling anymore because she had a bad experience training.
Yeah.
And she might not be old enough or mature enough from a mental standpoint to understand that difference now. So that could very much wreck a dream or something that she has moving forward. That's just
ruin wrestling for her.
Well, I don't know. As a kid, it's always important to have those dreams. I would always say finish school, do like, have those friends, because if something goes wrong with your experience of wrestling, what do you do next? Because there's a good chance if you don't enjoy your time in wrestling, you're going to have a black eye opinion about wrestling moving forward. But, and that's not saying she's going to have a bad experience, but at 12 years old, there's no guarantees for her. The only nice thing is that she probably has a super fan in Bailey to help support her too. So that's going to help her moving forward, I think.
Well, and it's kind of weird because I was creeping Twitter as this was going on, and just kind of hearing people's opinions, like professionals, like the ones that are in WWE that have been doing this for years. Like, Bailey's been wrestling for like almost 10 years, I think. So, like, she's been around. She started when she was 18, right? And because, like, Izzy is her super fan or whatever, I was kind of, like, looking at some of the things, like, that Bailey was liking, and she doesn't agree. Just by judging by what she has, like, on, because Twitter likes show up on my thing or whatever, or you can see it. So I was reading what she was liking about this thing, and she seems very much in the side that she doesn't agree on kids that young being in wrestling. But I mean, at the same time, like, you're not going to stop it. Like, you can have your opinions and whatever, but I just, like, also think in the fact that if you're that young, you're in a locker room with, like, people that are, like, 4 times your age. Sometimes. Like, you think about an indie wrestling locker room, sometimes you have, like, 50-some-year-olds. So it's like, they're almost 5 times her age. That's insane to think, right?
Well, imagine if she goes to a locker room when she's 16 and wrestles a show, and they have a 54-year-old.
True.
Or something like that, who's not ready to give it up. And then you find that, he's not exactly a decent person. He's not he might bring in substances that a kid should not have.
Like that environment.
Like whether it's drugs or alcohol. There's a lot of things. I would say at least wait till you're 16, 17, get an education, because if something doesn't pan out, you need a plan B. You always need a plan B. School is very...
It's like, you're so young.
Even going to college, go to business, learn like a trait, or not a trait, but have something, because you learn so much more about yourself through wrestling, I find, and then you kind of later in your career want to venture out at points. I mean, we both have podcasts, and that's something we didn't want to do before wrestling. It was something after we got into wrestling, so
gives me an excuse to talk about wrestling all the time. Well, the extended version of wrestling, like this, right? I like this. Compared to dumbing it down for my friends that don't get it, you know?
Yeah, but I have no problem with this girl wanting to train, but I think 12 might be too young. If I had a child, I would tell them to go to school, and then put them into, like, a different, maybe like a mixed martial arts class or something.
Yeah, like Taekwondo or something. Yeah. Start off like
only
that,
if they had good grades.
Yeah, get good grades.
It'd be very old school.
Did you watch Raw this week?
I did.
Okay, so what do you think about the ladies? First of all, I think... Okay, what was the first segment? Dana and Sasha and Bailey. Okay, so Dana's getting kicked to the curb by Titus Worldwide.
I'm also going to explain how I watch Raw, because it's 3 hours, and I usually start watching it about 8:30 at night.
Okay, so you PBR.
I watch what I want to watch, and I usually fast forward through a lot of it.
I work out when I watch Raw because it's so long that I just stop when I want to watch something and then walk away, so... Oops, I didn't want to admit that. But
I don't think Dana Brooke needs to be on the main roster. I think if Dana Brooke needs the ring experience, she should go back to NXT.
Well, and it's kind of like, maybe they should. Now that I was mentioned this last week, that there's a little bit of a drop-off between Shayna and Kairi Sane, and then the rest of the roster. Send her back there and...
Well, you had that same drop-off when Asuka was the champion, and when she left.
Like after Bailey left, or Asuka left?
Asuka. I think Asuka, she can compete with any women on the roster. But there was a level of... like a gap between Asuka and then who is the second best.
Definitely.
Now I think you get more of an even even playing field with the majority of the women on NXT to where, okay, now we can just let them help each other, elevate one another towards, maybe in 3 years, we're now looking at them in the same way we're looking at the Charlottes, the Alexa Blisses, the Carmellas, the Baileys, the Sashas, the Beckys.
Like that generation.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the thing. I think everybody is trying to put them all together, which is necessarily, I don't think, the right way. I also have a very idea about how if you want to truly separate women out of wrestling, I would just literally give them their own division in WWE.
Well, and I feel like... I don't know.
That's my only... To me, that's the only way I think you can get away from trying to compare them to men. Because that just seems like that's always their mindset. It's like, oh, the guys can do it, the girls need to do it. But every time you say that, you're still implying that they're in the shadow of a man.
Like, do you mean have them in their own show? Is that what you mean?
Like,
or just keep them all together schmucked?
Well, you know how in the indies you have all-female companies, right?
Okay, yeah.
Like Shimmer is an all-female company. The Ring of Honor have the Women of Honor, right?
Okay, yeah.
Why can't, like, if you want to do something groundbreaking, have WWE have their all-female division on. So take all the women from Raw, all the women from SmackDown, and create an all-women division. So so they can float essentially. And then get something on TV, like an hour or a 2-hour show every week on a TV cable company, and promote that as their own show, because then you're not competing with time for the guys. You're like, okay, why does Elias get 20 minutes, but then Sasha gets 3? Like, that's not a thing anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
And then when the pay-per-views come, yeah, they can have matches on that, and they still have the Royal Rumble, and they still have their Battle Royal at WrestleMania. But the thing is, then nobody's comparing the people from 205 Live with the people on Raw and SmackDown right now because they have their own show.
Yes.
I would give the women their own show. That way, you can now create women tag team titles, a secondary title, and then you have all this. Because if you have tag titles when you only have 12 women on one show, it's too many titles.
How would you, so everybody says, oh, they should have like a secondary title like the US title for the women. How would you separate, let's just hypothetically say they have just a women's title, not a Raw women's title, blah, blah, blah. So then they bring in, I don't know, the women's US title. How would you separate the people who compete for each title? Like main event, and then below it?
I think it would be the same way you do with any of the guys. It's like, okay, 5 years ago, Seth Rollins was the WWE champion?
Yeah.
Now he's the Intercontinental champion.
So pretty much you have, like, your main event girls, like, hypothetically, Alexa, Charlotte, Sasha, blah, 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 Becky. They're kind of seen as your Seths, your blah, blah, blah of the women's division.
Well, I mean...
And then below it, you'd have, I don't know, Peyton, Billy, them.
I think you have your upper echelon talent already on the women. I think you can say, okay, I think this one, and this one are probably the top tier talents.
Yeah.
Right? And then you probably, you'll never say that, oh, I think Naomi is the best. I don't think a lot of people say that. But she's good enough to be a good mid-carder, right?
Oh, for sure.
Or a good upper mid-carder.
Yeah. She's definitely not, like, a tier 3. She's, like,
you're not going to put Dana Brooke in the same level right now as Becky Lynch.
Oh.
Clearly.
Yeah.
But, at this point, so you have your things. And then if you want to do tag teams... You can also then we have the Iconics as a tag team. You can do Becky and Sasha as a tag team.
Yeah.
Now you can find ways to partner and then create storylines and then do all these things together with that whole thing. Just because one lady is going after the woman's title 1 month doesn't mean 4 months down the road she can't go for the secondary. I think it's just... the same way you would book any other show.
True, yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily a wrong thing. Like, Adam Cole, just because he was North American champion, doesn't mean he can't be NXT champion down the road.
True, yeah.
Or just because Johnny Gargano was going after the NXT championship one takeover, I don't think it's... if he's going after the North American championship a couple takeovers from now, I don't think that...
It doesn't need to be divided, yeah.
If anything, you can use those top-tier talents to help elevate that title as well. That's the thing, too.
I think,
Or you can have someone like a workhorse like The Miz did with the Intercontinental and have somebody like maybe Becky do that with the secondary title and make it as meaningful as that, too.
I think it would be interesting to see if they could do something like 205, but for the women. I would be very interested. I don't know how well it would go over.
And you get...
But I think it would be interesting.
I would also think, too, if you do that, now you're giving more time to these women, so you get to know their characters more. You get to know who they are a little bit better.
Let them go.
Yeah.
Like, just let them go.
You get to develop them long term, so it's a little bit easier now to get behind them. Like, I find we still don't know who Asuka really is on the main roster.
No,
because
she's
there's not
a
a lot
different
of
person now,
development, right? We don't really know who the Iconics are. They just make fun of everyone.
I was very excited for them. And I don't really know where they're going with this whole thing against Naomi.
No.
Like, I feel like they're trying to build up the team thing again. So I noticed after Naomi lost to Billy, was it Billy she faced this week? Yes, Billy. She put up, who's gonna be my partner, or I need this.
Just because they're pretty much family.
She's honestly a good wrestler. I feel like she's just doesn't, like Tamina, I mean, she's a good wrestler, but she just has never been given a platform, and she's never really had a character. I think she's hurt right now. I think she still was, yeah. So, but that would be interesting, or have, like, I don't really know who else Naomi would.
And they were part of they were part of the group back when they were doing the trios.
Yeah, her, Sasha, Tamina were together. I feel like it's leading to her. Like, if they're leading towards something, I don't know, like a tag team match, maybe at Evolution, who knows, Naomi and her mystery partner versus Billy and Peyton, but I feel like, no offense, Tamina, I love you, but I feel like it would be kind of, like, very anticlimactic if Tamina returned to be her partner, you know what I mean? So, and then I feel like if you bring, I don't know, it just is, they keep focusing on teams, and that's why I think they're gonna make a move on this tag team title for the women. But yeah, like, I agree, they need to figure something out and make that, like, universal.
My thing, if they make tag team titles for women for one show, they're going to have to do it for the other.
I feel like that's why it needs to be universal. And then, float across NXT, SmackDown,
and then now the next pay-per-view has, like, 9 title matches.
Yeah, that's frightening.
And that's way too much. That's why I think, like, combining them all to one roster and having their own show, you just make the titles more meaningful by not having so much. Like, what's more important to you, the SmackDown tag titles or the Raw? Or do you even care about that?
Me? SmackDown, for sure. Hands down.
But even though the Raw have been there longer.
Like, like, we're talking about the men, right?
Yeah,
I feel like it's just because right now I like the SmackDown tag teams more than the Raw tag teams.
But then you do one shake-up, like a next shake-up, and they bring all the tag teams to Raw, and then now
then I'd like the Raw teams more,
but the titles themselves have no different meaning for you.
I feel like still the Raw have a little bit more prestige, but at the same time, that is probably because they've been around longer.
It's like the WWE title means more than the Universal title, and the Intercontinental title probably means more to most people than the US title.
Oh, yeah, I'll agree to that.
So, that's just, to me, it's just, I don't know, I think WWE is just going too much with the titles.
Yeah, so I think they should have a show.
I mean, NXT has, like, 5 shows per takeover, and 3 of them are titles, if that. Maybe 4 now. So you have women's.
Yeah, I think now.
You have North American Tag and NXT. Yeah, so you have 4. So
and
one match
is UK, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, if that.
Not anymore, now that they have their own show. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
And then now you have the NXT UK Women's Championship.
Yeah, which I had written down that I wanted to talk about later.
See?
Okay, Raw. I don't know what's going on with... Okay, cool. It was I love Trish's little, like, interruption. I popped a little. I love her, but everybody knows that. But the whole thing with Ronda and Alexa, and Ronda probably facing Nikki at Evolution. Spoiler alert.
Well, and this is what I think WWE has an issue, or has a problem with. Because you see it when they turn Braun heel on Monday. They turn...
quote-unquote heel.
Yeah, and they turn Becky heel.
quote-unquote heel.
Even though more people are now cheering heavily for Becky, and now that she, quote-unquote, turned on Charlotte.
Okay, sorry, before you keep going, did you see that one video WWE posted of Sasha and Bayley taking Becky's side?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was quite interesting. So I'm not gonna, get my hopes up, but I kind of want to see a tag team match between the four of them.
And then here's my, initial reaction. They've both, in terms of Bayley and Sasha, have feuded with Charlotte.
Yes, and not with Becky.
So they see
on the main roster, at least. Yeah.
Which means... And, what I just don't understand with the timing now is you have introduced Shayna as a main roster type talent.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
You have Ronda now, and then you have the other two from the Four Horsewomen of MMA.
Yeah, which
NXT.
They've been doing house shows, 6-man tags.
And now you're teasing the Four Horsewomen in wrestling can't get along, instead of trying to build to that mega match that I think a lot of people wanted to see.
Is Hell in a Cell before Evolution? It is, right? Because it's next. It's in a few weeks, right?
Well, Evolution's in October, right? So
so Hell in a Cell's in a few weeks. That's the next one. Okay, so Hell in a Cell, Sasha, Becky have their blow-off. Well, not blow-off, but their match. Does Becky go over?
I don't think so.
I think something's going to happen that leads to this Four Horsewomen thing, but I feel like I'm getting my hopes up because I keep seeing these things about Ronda and Nikki, which, no offense, sorry, Nikki, but this disappoints the hell out of me.
I don't know why they would want Nikki Bella, of all people, on the roster to go against Ronda.
I get the mainstream thing, but at the same time, why? Why? I'd rather see Alexa and Ronda again.
And that's the thing. When you talk about your top heels in the women's right now, Alexa's always going to be there.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I don't think there's anyone close. You're trying Becky. That's not working. If anything, that whole thing is pushing more people to dislike Charlotte, because I think more people are now looking at Charlotte in the same light as they look at Roman Reigns, as someone that just always has to be
the spotlight,
always has to go after the title, and then now is building all these titles, and it's like, oh, she's a 7-time champion. Okay, but do you really remember all the time she won the championship?
Becky?
Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte. Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, half of them were against Sasha.
Yeah, because they were flipped.
Yeah.
Right?
I think the whole Becky thing is so parallel to Bayley recently.
And I think Becky can be the biggest baby face.
I still think she's a face,
in
though.
the women history.
I wouldn't say baby face. I still think she's a face. Yeah. Because she's not, cheating.
No.
And, you look at the way she posted that thing about attacking Charlotte in front of her rather than behind her when Charlotte betrayed her a few years ago. So I look at that, and then I look at how Bayley was, and everyone's like, Bayley turned heel. Bayley's not a freaking heel. Look at her now. She's not a heel.
She got cheered when she was beating up Sasha Banks, and she...
Exactly. Becky's doing the same thing, so I'm like, she's not a heel.
Becky and Bayley have both called Sasha and Charlotte a bitch and been cheered.
Yes. So it's they are not heels, guys.
Why?
Calm down.
Because in 2018, your fan base wants to see the women get aggressive. They want to see intensity. Emotion. Yeah. Exactly. That is, they don't want to see this buddy-buddy relationship anymore because they're tired of the play it safe mentality. If you're going to say women are going to have the first Hell in a Cell, they're going to have the first ladder, they're going to have all these firsts that they've never had, you'll want to see these matches be amazing.
I think putting Becky in a Hell in a Cell match would be one of the smartest booking decisions in a while. I think she could make that match so good. I don't know if I'd want to see... I feel like because Charlotte and Sasha... Well, it was 2 years ago, but I feel like it just happened. But then I feel like their storyline right now kind of justifies Hell in a Cell. But then that's a lot of Hell in a Cell matches in one night, so I don't know.
I think it makes a lot of sense for Ronda and Bliss to have it.
They don't really have that intensity, though. Charlotte and Becky do. In their rivalry, I mean.
Yeah, I just look at this one being so fresh that I don't think they need a gigantic gimmick match now.
Because Hell in a Cell's kind of like a blow-off, isn't it? Kind of?
Yeah, and that's the thing. What do you follow it with next?
Evolution?
Like a submission match?
Well, I would say that this is kind of what I pictured in my head. Say, for example, Becky and Charlotte get their Hell in a Cell match, because I feel like it's going to happen. They get their Hell in a Cell match. I don't see Becky not winning, but at the same time, I feel like something's going to happen where Charlotte does prevail. But then I also feel like right after that match is done, something's going to happen that leads them to Evolution.
You know what I'd love to see them do?
What?
I would love to see them have a Steve Austin type match where you turn Charlotte more heel and you put Becky more as the face. So by the end...
Like a double turn, almost, essentially?
And then when Becky is going to win, Charlotte either does something cheap or does something...
desperate.
Well, she's also the daughter of the dirtiest player in the game. So
Pull have Ric Flair come out, do what
by
he did to
genetic
Becky.
trait, because she's genetically superior to everyone, she should know the dirty tricks in wrestling better than anybody else.
She should.
So if she does that to get one over on Becky, that could help evolve that into a bigger feud. This guy's brights are killing me, by the way.
I feel like the match just isn't going to have a finish. I feel like something's going to happen that leads them to Evolution. In the match that happens at Evolution.
That, or you have a Shayna Baszler or somebody, like your 4 horsewomen of MMA, break that up.
That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Like, even if it happens in Hell in a Cell, who did that? One of the guys did this. I think it was The Miz, where they were, like, under the ring, or they got into the Hell in a Cell, and I think it was The Miz. And he was dressed like he had like a mask on. I think it was The Miz. Anyways, we'll fact check that later. But they could do something like that. They don't need to have Ronda out there. Have the 3 of them or 2 of them, and just wreck shit.
The only reason that Ronda, I think, is where she is because she's the biggest name on the woman's side.
Like on Raw?
Just in general.
Okay.
I think she's the biggest star. I think she's a bigger star worldwide than Charlotte is, and Charlotte's probably the next one.
Definitely.
And then, so if you put her in these kind of matches, it's going to bring more eyes onto the product, therefore that's going to bring more eyes onto every other talent. That's why I think they're pushing really hard on the Ronda train. If they really cared about Ronda and her future development, I still think they would have waited another half year to put the title on.
I think they kind of wanted to do it now because do they think she's going to be around? She said she will be, but I don't know.
This is my thing. If she's not around in 6 months, I then think she is going to get an absolute backlash from fans because then they saw right through that she doesn't have the passion to be a wrestler. She just wanted to do it a few times and then get up.
Which is fine, but at the same time, it's kind of like what I said
But do you remember the Goldberg-Brock Lesnar WrestleMania match where everyone booed them both because they were leaving?
Yeah. That was just the other year.
If Ronda... It was WrestleMania 20.
Oh, I don't remember that one then.
Both of them, everyone knew that was their last night in the company, and they were leaving after that match. And it was in New York, so all the fans booed them. Steve Austin was the referee, and when you think about it, you have Steve Austin as a referee between Brock Lesnar and Goldberg.
Steve Austin. Loves him.
At the same time, they're booing the match because they don't care, because they know both competitors are leaving. So why give them the satisfaction of having that good match? If Ronda Rousey says she's going to leave within a year or 2 now, she's going to get a backlash from the fans, and the fans are not going to be nice to her.
The one criticism I've had, at the very beginning, I remember them pushing that she signed a full-time contract. She did this, she did that. And I said, okay, cool. I'll believe it when I see it. I haven't seen it. I will only consider her full-time when she is doing a Bayley or an Alexa or a Sasha schedule, where they're literally wrestling 4 to 5 times every other week, like every week almost.
Well, one of the factors...
That's full-time to me.
That's one of the factors that's playing along. What comes with Ronda right now is the fact that she's also doing movies, and she has a John Cena type schedule. Yeah. But
don't say you're a full-time wrestler then.
Well, also, she doesn't choose what date she works. That's a company thing.
Well, no, I was saying, because they said, oh, she's full-time.
Yeah. She does do live events.
You are not full-time?
She has done live events.
Yeah, but not like an Alexa schedule. That girl works her ass off.
No. And that's something that I think people are going to look at these kind of people down the road. That's why you got the reaction of, I don't want to say Goldberg, but that's why people turned on Lesnar. Because at one point, he was the biggest babyface on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And then he just stopped showing up. Boom. He's now a bad guy. People hate that to the point where people started cheering Reigns a little bit more. And he was, like, universally the biggest heel in the company who, for whatever reason, isn't a heel. If you get anybody who comes into the company, says they want to be here, and they're not here, there's only one person who can get away with that, and that was The Rock.
Yeah. Well, but even then, he wasn't going around saying, I'm full-time, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You know what I mean? Like, no.
No, but The Rock said he loves to be here, and he can't imagine being away from it.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
and then he's like, I'm back, but then he's gone for a couple months. And that is why the whole John Cena thing was a big
I was going to say, that was the big John Cena, like, what their rivalry was like.
But that is the thing. No matter how hard a woman, I think, in today's WWE works, I think you're always going to be looked at as, okay, they're not The Miz, they're not John Cena. Because to this day, I still think, regardless if it's fair or not, you're always going to compare them to other people. And you're always going to compare them to the men.
Oh, for sure, because they're all in the same company.
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's I'll just even bring up, like, women's hockey.
And they don't cut, and
they just, like, always compare it, right?
They don't cut the teeth of everybody else. Like, men get ruthless sometimes on the mic. Women don't do that as much.
I feel like...
The last person I remember doing that was either AJ Lee and Paige, and they ripped the Bellas. I know AJ Lee ripped the Bellas.
Yeah. The one... Yeah, you're probably right. And maybe even the one promo Paige cut on Charlotte, but that's still the same person. Yeah.
And that got these people over more because they went there.
Yeah, you need to go there sometimes. And it shows intensity when people are like, oh, did she really just say that? 2
SmackDowns ago, Becky Lynch, best promo I've ever seen her cut.
Love her. Woman crush every day.
I heard that she did an interview where she was questioning if the people really like her and if the company's really behind her because she doesn't have fake boobs or she has orange hair. She's not your prototypical, like, look. And it's
I didn't see that. I'm going to have to look it up.
And that is actually very good to see because I like the fact that they're willing to go outside the box. That is the one quality I think Becky Lynch could get over as a heel because she's willing to work that hard and go there. Yeah. The only challenge is nobody in the crowd wants to boo her.
No, because everybody loves her so much that it's going to be very hard. Like I said, she's going to have to kick a puppy.
It's like try to turn Daniel Bryan before WrestleMania 30.
Oh, yeah, no.
Not
if anything, they're just like same thing with Becky. Cheer more.
Becky has this organic relationship with the fans that very little women in the company have right now. Bayley had that in NXT. When she got up to the main roster, that was lost. I
think Bayley had it up until what pay-per-view was it? Fastlane or WrestleMania when she retained. I think after WrestleMania happened, that's when she lost a lot of it. And it kind of has been going down since. And I feel like lately she's been picked back up. Like, she's starting to get, like, crowd again. But she was flat for the last year.
Well, the biggest ovation I think she's had in the last couple of years was when she beat up Sasha and called her a bitch.
Yeah, so just like a month or so ago.
Yeah, and that was one of the most over I've seen Bayley been with the fan base.
Yeah, before Mania, that was the Mania she retained the title. So Mania 23, yes, Mania 23 or 33. Oh my God, WrestleMania 33 when she retained the title. That was probably the last time I've seen her get.
We all know that WWF had the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
But right now, I think it's very important that the women in WWE have their Attitude Era. I think they need to step it up from that aspect because we all know how good of wrestlers a lot of them are. But we want to see that character, and we want to see
the consistency.
We want to see one girl like just going ape shit on another, beating them up, and saying you're a bitch because we want to see that intensity. We want to see that attitude.
And that's why I'm kind of glad that because they originally deleted that video that Sasha and Bayley did, and then they reposted it. And that's why I'm glad that they kept it, or reposted it, because they took Becky's side, even though she's quote-unquote what people keep saying, she's a heel now, and Bayley and Sasha are faces, but they're agreeing with why Becky did what she did. That's why I'm liking what they're doing with that. It's recognizing that Charlotte's in the wrong.
I heard a rumor that WWE might actually change their direction with the Becky and Charlotte feud because of the fans' backlash.
In what way?
The fact that they don't want to boo Becky, so they might change the direction with that feud to where Becky might not be the heel, she might be the baby face again. Which, if that's the case, then I just hope they keep that attitude and they keep that.
Don't make her happy-go-lucky again. No. I don't want to hear a pun from her unless it's a malicious pun. Like, I don't want to hear one until she has that title around her waist. And even then, I still want her to be a badass.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you can have fun as much as you want, but at some point, you're going to have to just dial it down the funny and dial up the intensity.
Intensity is a great word.
Because
I love that word.
That's why Steve Austin was the biggest babyface in the world, and that is why nowadays Daniel Bryan is. But when you compare the two, they're completely different. But the two that they had was their intensity when it came down to business. It was there, and you believed it. When it comes to John Cena, you just don't necessarily believe it, but at the same time, he has other factors that he's really good at.
Yes.
But that's why Steve Austin, Daniel Bryan can get over that much with the fans, and that's why a guy like Zack Ryder doesn't.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry, I've never been a fan of him. But that's another story for another time. Yeah, I think we're pretty much done talking about what happened this week. Okay, so the Mae Young bracket has finally come out. My opinion on the whole tournament, after seeing the bracket, doesn't change. I still pick Toni. However, spoiler alert, I saw that she's injured. I saw that on the Twitter machine today or yesterday or whatever, that she's injured, so I hope that doesn't affect her competing at Evolution, because I still think she's going to win whole thing.
If it's not until October, then I think she's okay.
Yeah, it's 2 months away, right? So
depending on the seriousness. Did you hear about the UK women?
I spoiled myself. I did. I feel really bad.
They've crowned a champion already.
They have. That's why I saw it, and I kind of was like, oh, shoot. But I feel like there was no way to avoid that spoiler.
No.
So I was happy.
If it's on the internet already, and then we talk about it, we're not the ones spoiling. It's already on the internet.
Yeah, it's been on the internet for, 4 days?
Yeah.
5 days?
I remember when I heard about Undisputed Era winning the tag titles.
Yeah.
The first time around, and I told Maniac, and he's like, I hate you, you ruined it for me. But I was like, no I didn't, because it's on the internet for a day and a half already. Like,
no,
that's just the world we live in now.
Okay, so I guess we can technically spoil it. Spoiler, skip the next 30 seconds if you don't want to know who it is, but Rhea Ripley, right? That's how you pronounce her name?
Yes.
Ripley, whatever.
Right.
She won the UK Women's title, so she's the first ever champ. So in my mind, it still doesn't change the outcome of Mae Young for me at all. I still think Toni's going over. I think she'll win the whole thing.
Who did she beat in the finals again? Was it
a triple threat?
Or was it a fatal four-way? Was it Toni or was it Dakota Kai?
Dakota Kai wasn't in it, I don't think. But I know for sure Toni, Rhea, Zaya Brookside?
Yeah.
Is it Zaya Brookside?
Yeah.
Was in it for sure, and then was there a fourth girl, or was she injured, and they just didn't bother replacing her?
They did an actual tournament style, so it was...
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought there was they just threw him in there. I think the title's beautiful. I think it's gorgeous.
Because I think Toni lost in the semifinals of that tournament.
Did she? I thought it was a fatal four-way. Okay, I'm going to have to do my research. I was not prepared, clearly. But my one question is, they made the title white, but why did they make it white when the NXT Women's title has a black strap?
Well, here's an idea.
So are they going to change the NXT title, too?
They did the same thing in WWE, when you think about it. Because they didn't have the women's title first came out, and they only had the one, right? They had the red one.
The Raw one, technically, yeah.
And that had a white strap with the red with the background. They also had a black one, because that was the only title. And the Universal title wasn't out at the same time. So the black represents the men and the white represent the women.
Okay.
What I noticed that's a little different is the NXT title has the WWE logo in the middle, whereas the NXT women's title has the NXT logo in the middle of the main plate. If anything, I think the NXT, that should change.
Yeah, that title that they made for the UK women, or I guess just the UK brands in general, they're beautiful. And that women's title is gorgeous. I really like it. It might be my favorite title, like looking title right now. For the women, of course.
I hate the fact that the main roster has the worst looking titles in all
they
of
look
WWE.
like toys.
The tag titles went from
like
pennies
toys.
to nickels.
Yes.
All WWE did was follow Canada and got rid of the pennies.
Yeah, basically, right? I was looking at because New Day just went over, right? So I was looking at those and I said, were they always that toyish looking? Like,
but then you look at the tag titles in NXT, they're awesome. When you look at the women's title and the men's Universal and WWE title, they're plain looking ones. And then you go to NXT and they filled everything out. They have a design in it and it looks better.
Intricate.
Yeah.
It looks like you're winning something. That's like, I was never a huge fan of, I guess, the boxing look. But I like, is it boxing? When the title, the strap looks like, so the North American title. Yeah. Yeah. I was never a fan, but I still think that's a great looking title.
I do, I'm just not a big fan of the fat straps.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm excited
specific.
to see the UK women's division, to see what they do, and if they're going to bring any girls from NXT over. More than they already have, of course.
What I'm interested in, because I still see Pete Dunne on NXT TV. But then I know he's going to be the focal point of NXT UK.
For sure. And him and, like, Tyler Bate and
I still see Dakota
whatever.
Kai on NXT. And I know she's going to be in the NXT women's division and the UK division.
Okay.
Because she's from Australia.
Where are they filming the UK brand?
I want to say in England.
Well, yeah, but, like, where? Is it London? Or where is
Around there, yeah.
Okay, I have no idea where it is. But regardless, okay.
I think the plan, from what I understand, the plan was to put a performance center down there, too.
I think it's almost built, isn't it? Or is it coming up in the next year, maybe?
I have no idea.
I think once they have this, have just have their separate divisions. I would really like to see one day, though, NXT women's title versus UK women's title, champ versus champ.
I would love to
bragging rights. I don't know.
I would love to see NXT invade the main roster and them to have one pay-per-view where it's NXT versus WWE.
That would be really good, like really good. Or make everything. Well, I guess WWE versus NXT, but I was gonna say Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT.
Well, and that's what I always thought would be cool. Like, if you brought back War Games, you're going to have Team Raw, Team SmackDown, Team NXT.
Well, they are doing that.
I know, but they only do it
next
in
month or
NXT,
whatever.
right?
Oh, yeah.
But that would, I think...
Like a one night... That could be like a good...
Imagine this. You get to see The Shield versus New Day versus Undisputed Era.
So good. That would be really good, actually. New Day has been really good. But anyways, I think that's a great idea. It could be like one of those shows, like the Australian Super Show they're doing.
Yeah.
Do something like that. It doesn't need to be for anything, just bragging rights. I don't know. If NXT wins, you get called up. I don't know.
But
you win, you get called up to the team you just pinned.
But this is the thing too. If you were to scrap one of the pay-per-views that don't really mean too much,
Praise Balls of Fire. Just kidding.
Fastlane. And you replaced it with something like this, it doesn't necessarily need to come down to somebody getting called up or called down or something like that. But now you just get to see something different, and it's something that I think as the years go on, you're going to look forward to every year.
Yes. And that's why,
Because imagine if you got to see AJ Styles versus Adam Cole, or you got to see The Undertaker versus Aleister Black.
Ooh.
Or you get to see Tommaso Ciampa go against Daniel Bryan. Or Johnny Gargano against Daniel Bryan.
So good. I think that would be...
Or Ricochet against Seth Rollins.
Ooh. See, these are like matchups that I'm like, they could happen, but I feel like they're still so far away that it's just annoying. Same thing with So, like, I look at the women in NXT right now. There's some girls that are doing really well, like Bianca Belair. I think Maniac mentioned her, or was that you in your guys' last podcast?
Oh.
Okay, one of you guys mentioned her and how she's, like, really impressing you.
We don't do that podcast sober.
Fair enough. But no, one of you guys mentioned her, because she just recently had a match against, like, Deonna oh my god, I always butcher her last name.
Purrazzo.
Poor girl, I'm so sorry. But
the girlfriend of one Marty Scurll.
Yeah, he's so cool. Anyways, yeah, I was watching that. I was like, oh, that's really interesting, and she impressed me. Lacey Evans always impresses me. She's just like, every time she gets back in the ring, I'm like, damn girl, you were working your ass off. But I look at that, and if they did some sort of like war game-esque like thing, I don't know, maybe the 3 horsewomen are still in NXT. That would be a good way to pop them back up.
Well, we did a male version of group versus group versus group. What happens if we had a female group in NXT and you did that against the 4 horsewomen of wrestling, against the 4 horsewomen of MMA?
In war games or just in general?
Just in general, and that
it'd be pretty cool.
These are just things that you can look at, and I just think they're doing all these different concepts now, but everybody now talks about NXT. They always want to see, like, the big matches. Like, it still blows my mind that AJ Styles has been there for, 3 years now? And you've never seen him versus Seth Rollins yet on the main roster.
This will be coming up 3 years.
So there's still matches there you don't see. But there's going to be matches that, like, I am very much wanting to see Goldust versus Velveteen Dream. And I hope Goldust goes Goldust back from the 90s.
Oh, yeah, that would be, really good.
I want to see the Goldust that made you... Is he gay? Or is he just really, really weird?
Yeah.
And then you have Velveteen Dream, who's like the perfect cross between Macho Man and Prince.
Actually, there's... I don't know why I'm just randomly thinking of this, because I was listening to a bunch of podcasts lately. Lillian Garcia, I love her podcast. I'm just going to throw it out there. I like the stories people tell. She had Ember Moon on.
Yeah.
And she was talking about her journey. First of all, what's going on with Ember on the main roster, who God knows what. Poor girl. But I would really like to see her versus Becky.
She got caught in a little bit of a... When they brought in Ronda Rousey, there was somebody who was going to be left aside. She got lost in the shuffle. That's exactly what happened.
Because they brought her up at the time they brought her in.
I mean...
Because she looked like she was going, you know?
She got as lost in the shuffle on the women's side on Monday Night Raw as Bobby Lashley did when he came back.
True. That's a good comparison.
There is a match that I kind of had fun. I made my own Evolution card.
Okay, let's go into that.
And I put her in a match against Molly Holly.
Oh, is she coming back?
I don't know, but she looked good in the Royal Rumble.
She did, yeah. She looked really good.
She was one of the few...
That's something I didn't think I ever needed, but I kind of want to see.
I just looked at people... It didn't matter to me. I don't think it matters to me if she's winning the title right now. But if she's in a profiled match that makes her look good...
I just want to see Ember wrestle.
Yeah.
I love the way she wrestles. Did you know that she's afraid of heights?
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I listened to her podcast, and I'm like, you are? You're flying around the ring all the time.
So was Devon Dudley, and he was dropping off the turnbuckle in the TLC match.
I guess, but I was surprised, considering her finishing maneuver and some of her signature stuff involved flying through the air. Yeah. So I'm like, girl, damn, you're a badass. But
did you never ever hear the story of when Devon Dudley is hanging on the ring that has the tag titles on, and they're kicking them off, they're trying to kick each other? I think he was with Christian. He was scared shitless
to drop,
because he didn't want to do it.
Oh.
But he understood that was his.
Oh.
That was his part.
I never heard that.
That was the thing. It was really funny.
So now if I see Ember in the next Money in the Bank match, I'll be like, I'll be trying to watch her, like, if she's
And I don't think I was the only one who wanted to see her hit the Eclipse off the ladder.
Yeah, I think they put the shackles on them. Not as much as they did in the first woman's Money in the Bank, but in that one. But okay, so Ember, Molly Holly, what's your next one? I'm intrigued.
Well, you have
This is
Alexa and
people.
Trish. I have no
Obviously,
problems with
that's
that match.
happening,
That
yeah.
match just makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense, but I'm also disappointed. But go on.
I have Ronda Rousey tagging up with Shayna Baszler to go against Bayley and Sasha Banks.
Okay,
And
so
you can have fun with so much.
I was gonna say,
match.
what do you think? You think they would pull? Not pull the plug. That's the wrong word. You think they would do the two of them versus the two of them rather than all four against all four?
I think right now, because then you can put 4 and 4 at Survivor Series.
And it's like a month right after, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Or you
at
help-
least then it can set up. But obviously Ronda and them are going
You can
over.
set that up for a bigger show down the road, and there's one in April that's pretty big.
True. True. I would love to see it at Mania. I mean, why the hell not? That's actually intriguing. So, when is War Games? That's November, though, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Or is that sooner than that?
I think that's the next
I'm so bad
takeover.
with timelines. Jack Pride will.
I think that's the
that.
next takeover.
Okay, so Shayna gets her rematch, but she's obviously not winning. But she comes up to main roster before that match?
Well, for
Technically?
Evolution, it doesn't matter
guess it
what
doesn't
roster you're on,
count.
because they say they're going to
Okay.
have people from NXT.
So how do they set it up? Shayna just jumps through the crowd one night, attacks Bayley.
Here's
Bayley
also,
to bellies her.
here's also the thing, too, about this match. Ronda's on Raw, Bayley's on Raw, Sasha's on Raw.
Okay.
Shayna's not on any show, but it's a lot easier
Doesn't
to have
matter,
her
yeah.
on Raw, and you can have Raw set that up.
True.
You can have... All it takes is one Ronda Sasha face-off to get the whole thing started.
Chills.
Because
I like it.
There are
I like it.
Because as much as Sasha gets out of the 4, she's probably the bitch card. Ronda probably gets the same way out of the 4. And
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Because the other three are so passive.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the kind of personalities they are in real life, kayfabe that, but they seem pretty passive-aggressive, besides the fact that they're fighters. But
Yeah.
That's interesting. Didn't think of that.
I have Asuka against Kairi Sane.
I need to see it. Who goes over, though? Asuka?
Kairi.
Oh.
She's the champion.
Well, she is the champ.
Yeah.
So then you just push Asuka down
Well,
the hill a
Think
little
about
bit more.
this. This is the first time with the NXT Women's title in there, Asuka would lose. But I don't think that match matters. I think all it is you're putting two of some of the best female Japanese workers in the ring together.
Ugh,
And
so
then,
good. They need to open the show then, I think. Or should they be in the middle of the card?
I don't know.
Okay.
I also have the Iconics
Yeah.
against the Bellas.
See, that makes so much
Yeah.
more sense than freaking Ronda and Nikki.
I think it's the most natural match. Either that or
It'd be hilarious, I'm not gonna lie.
Iconics against Lay Cool. But I have
That would be even funnier.
I have a match that I think would be really good that involves Michelle McCool, and that is Michelle McCool against Charlotte.
They've been kind of asking for that, right?
Uh-huh.
For a few years, the two of them. That would be really cool.
And then,
They kind of wrestle the
and
same.
then you can still have Undertaker versus Flair comparisons.
Ugh. Well, has it been mentioned on TV that Michelle... Yeah, it has, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, okay.
And then, Molly against Ember.
Okay.
You have Nia Jax against Beth Phoenix.
I don't think that's completely out of the realm. I
No.
think it's going to
They
happen.
teased that at the Royal Rumble.
What happened with Nia, though? Is she still injured? Or is she coming back soon?
Well, I would assume that she's always...
She's got
Anybody
it.
who's injured
I
is
need to
always
see that
coming
match.
back.
Well, I know, but, like, is she going to be back in time? Because she just kind of fell off the face of the
I would
earth because
assume
of that
so.
injury. Okay.
I have all this as just matches I'd like to see.
Well, yeah, it's all hypothetical,
then-
but I'm like, could it happen? I think that could happen.
And then obviously you have the Mae Young finals.
Okay, and you have your predictions for the final?
Well, I already know what the finals is.
Well, okay, we're not going to spoil that.
Yeah, so...
No spoiler for that, because I spoiled myself too when I saw the after bracketology.
Yeah. And then I put for the UK Women's title, I have Rhea Ripley against Dakota Kai.
Oh, very good. I want to see it.
And then I have... You know how when they had scramble matches? Like back when they had like 6 people in the match and all the...
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm kind of thinking like similar thing, but you just have like... About around 10, but it's just a matter of little mini matches. One that puts every other woman that's on Raw that's not in a match in, like, whether it's a battle royal or whatever.
Number one contender kind of thing?
Or just, yeah, whoever wins, they get a title shot to the Raw Women's title at some point. You have one for SmackDown, and then you have one for NXT. That way, you can get as many people on the show as possible.
I like it. So what's the time limit then? Because Scramble had, a 10-minute time limit
Well,
or something?
I don't necessarily think you gotta do a scramble, but as long as you do a match where they're all together and whoever is the last one not to get pinned, or maybe it's a battle royal type thing, who cares? But as long as there's something there. That way, every woman on that show is actually fighting for something.
I think battle royals are boring as hell. I would rather see a scramble match. I didn't realize how much I kind of wanted to see a scramble match.
Or you can put them all in a battle royal, and whoever wins gets a shot at their respective brand. So if an NXT
or whichever title they want.
If an NXT woman wins, she gets a shot at the NXT title.
Have it like a mini Royal Rumble, except not entering like that, but like the winner gets the shot at.
It's like having
title.
a mini female battle royal for Mania. I don't even know if they have a name for that yet, because
isn't it the? Oh. No, it's not Moolah. They got rid of that.
No, they got rid of that because she.
Crap! No, I can't remember.
She had
what
a bad reputation.
Who? What did they name it after? I don't have Wi-Fi. So
all I know is their title looked very much like the fallopian diagram of vagina.
It did.
Like completely.
I think they just called it like the WrestleMania like Women's Battle Royal in the end or something.
Yeah.
Something dumb.
The WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, like very generic.
I like those ideas.
I still think they should have named it after China.
Oh, okay.
And I just don't see the bad thing.
I still think because they have the stigma around it.
But if they're gonna not name it after Moolah for the way she conducted herself, apparently after that, then I can understand why they're not gonna do China.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do the Medusa or whatever. Then name it after Alondra Blaze or something.
Yeah, that would be even better. I think that. So does Renee Young do commentary? She's got to do commentary for Evolution, hands down. Oh, love her. She's so good. I like all your ideas for it. I still want to see the 4 Horsewomen match.
I would even put Charlie Caruso with her.
Oh, where did you put Becky on your list? Is she in the Scramble thing, or is she on there at all?
Oh yeah. So I didn't write it down, but I would do Becky Lynch versus Lita.
Since Trish is on the card, Lita's gonna be on the card. If we're not getting like a tag match with the two of them, we've got to see Lita and Becky. Hell yeah. Because that was Becky's favorite, right? She said? Was her favorite wrestler was Lita?
I don't know.
I think she said it,
I know Bayley's favorite was Lita.
Yeah, she was, yeah.
But...
yeah, we've got to see it. Yeah. I think...
especially if Becky was to be a heel Becky against babyface Lita would actually be pretty solid.
Or just straight up let them go. Do whatever they want. Like, give them, 15 minutes, 10 minutes.
And if Lita's kind of still a little bit, not polished, I think Becky can handle it.
She looked good at Royal Rumble, but...
I thought she almost murdered somebody on her moonsault.
Sasha?
No, Lita. Rewatch that. And
that she almost killed herself?
No, because, when Lita does her moonsault, she doesn't get much air. She just
flops.
Goes straight down. And she almost murdered, and I forget who she hit, but the head of that person almost looked like she, landed right on it.
Oh,
go back and look at it, and then I'm sure you'll text me about it.
Okay, I'm going to have to look, because I remember she hit it for sure once, and she did a double on Sasha and Becky at the very beginning.
Might be on Sasha.
That's why I remember it, because Becky and Sasha were laying next to each other, and she hit it, and I popped.
I know there's two things that... maybe it was Sasha, because... well, no, the one thing that really stands me out about Sasha is Sasha took a lot of phantom strikes and bumped on a phantom strike. And that bugged me.
Oh, in that match?
Yeah. Another thing that bugged me is how many
match.
women actually rolled out of the ring when they're still involved in the match, instead of just rolling to the side.
Yeah, it was weird. Whoever structured the match did a little weird. Whatever, it was the first ever, but...
something to learn off and build off.
This is accurate. Yeah, I have nothing else to talk about now. We covered absolutely everything, plus Evolution. I just want to see the 4 horsewomen in one form or another. If it's Shayna and Ronda versus Bayley Sasha, that's going to be a hell of a match.
I'm going to close this before you see that spoiler.
What spoiler?
The spoiler over the Mae Young. Or not Mae Young. Yeah, Mae Young.
Oh, yeah, I know who wins.
Oh, okay.
When I saw the bracketology on Wikipedia.
Oh, you just don't want to say it on here.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it on here.
Oh, okay.
Because it just came out.
You're just going to kayfabe for all your listeners.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know who's in the finals. Whatever. I think it's pretty obvious, but I'm excited for it.
I think I know who's going to win. And I have a reason, but I'll tell you off screen. Or off air.
Alright. Would you like to plug all your lovely social medias?
My plugs?
Yeah, give me your plugs.
You want me to plug you?
Please do it.
I'm so happy my wife doesn't listen to podcasts.
Whoops! Sorry, wife.
Whatever. She's actually so unhappy I'm doing this right now.
Aw.
Because she doesn't listen very well.
Oh no!
So when I told her, yeah, I'm doing my Nike Nights podcast, which is the Sounds of Struggle, which you can find every week on Backbreaker Media.
Plug!
See how I do that? Yeah.
Slide it in there.
I also told her I was doing yours, and then she forgot that, and thought I just said, she thought I was doing 1, and forgot that I was doing 2, because Maniac and I recorded episode 90 last night. That comes out tomorrow. I don't know, when does yours come out?
Fridays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we always say,
Friday.
so we always record Monday, Tuesdays, come out on Thursdays.
I was, but then my schedule is like a piece of shit, and I couldn't get anything to our lovely producer until later in the week. So they're coming out Fridays, Friday nights usually.
Yeah. See, I purposely didn't want Fridays, because I think Friday...
So many things come out on Friday.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I always like to give people something to do in the middle of the week, because the middle of the week can get brutal. So you need something.
This is true.
So
that's why wrestling sucks being at the beginning of the week.
You can follow me on Instagram at chris.parish. I don't post much, but that's my Instagram. My Twitter is just at Chris Parish. Yeah.
At Chris Parish.
You can like my pages on Facebook, but I really don't check them. I just have them.
Solid.
And
you were doing the wrestle this weekend.
Yeah, I do a lot of wrestles. Wrestled last week, I wrestle next week.
Who are you facing on Saturday?
I am facing the headline, the turncoat, the ass hat, Shawn Martins.
Boom.
And
is it for the title? No, it's not.
He's not the champion.
Yeah.
He stole Madonna's title.
I'm terrible.
And
I
claimed
haven't,
himself the champion.
Since I left the company, I haven't paid close attention. Except you.
I only worry about what I'm doing.
There you go, exactly.
I know what Manak's doing, because he's my boy.
My boy.
Oh,
which I would like to say, I don't know if he'll listen to it, but when I got his challenge last week.
Well, you have me on, not Malowini, so he might now.
Okay.
That's not a dig at you, Malowini. That's just...
Maniac's gonna just have to be on in the next few weeks, so I can accept his challenge in person, I suppose.
What was his challenge?
He wanted a match with me.
Oh,
it was bra and panty, though, and I said, well, maybe, depends. Get super,
no, depends is not allowed. It's bra and panties.
Oh, sorry.
Depends.
Well, he might need depends after.
No, he'll voluntarily put on a bra and panties, and I think you know that to be true too.
Yeah, he would. Oh, love a guy who's just so confident in himself. Anyways, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
For having me.
Because we're talking about all our shit. And like I said, this is usually Mike's expertise to say something super cheesy at the end. But it's not my style, so I'm just going to say play my music and then we're good to go.
Yeah, see, like, the only nice thing is we just call our listeners bitches now. So we always say later bitches. Or something like that.
Bye!
Yeah, so. Took us, like 70 episodes, if that, or around that.
I'm just going to say...
To find out we're going to close it off. We usually just close off where you can find us coming up. Because, I mean, that's usually the main thing.
I actually have a weekend off, so I have nothing to plug for myself.
Well, when's your next match? Do you know? When's the next show that you'll be on?
I'm going to be in Calgary on the 21st.
Where's your first defense of the RCW Women's Championship?
Ooh, party girl.
That I also may have a picture of me holding, by the way.
Oh yeah, you told me you have to send it to me.
Or
It'll be at the end of the month. My opponent is to be, it's not TBT because I know who it, or TBD, sorry. I know who it is, but it hasn't been announced yet, so I can't say. But it will be defended at the end of September. Or towards the end of September. And then I may also be in Red Deer / Edmonton as well, so we'll see.
Didn't you say you're going to Lethbridge at some point?
Oh yeah, I'll be in Lethbridge. KJ will be in Lethbridge on the 29th. So I'm all over Alberta this month.
And I'll be wrestling Kyle Sebastian in a no disqualification match for this PPW heavyweight title.
That's the only reason I took that booking, was to go see you wrestle.
The Double Down Wrestling Podcast with KJ. We'll be right back with part 1 of an exclusive interview with Alberta wrestling talent Angelica right after these words from Win Column Sports.
Hello, friends. This is Spencer Love, your host of Over the Top Rope on the Win Column Sports Network. Don't forget you can head to wincolumnsports.ca for all of your previews, reviews, and breaking news from the world of wrestling, be it your major promotions or from the great province of Alberta, Canada.
Well, welcome to Double Down Wrestling Podcast with KJ. So since everybody knows already at this point, I created this podcast to speak about women in wrestling and women's wrestling in general. So I figured, why the hell not have one of my best friends in wrestling in general come on the podcast to put herself over.
Oh my gosh.
Just to talk about the life. I feel like being a woman in wrestling is hard.
Extremely.
Because we are the minority. I've said this before in like previous podcasts that for every 20 men in wrestling, I feel like there's only one woman. But anyways, before we go any further, I just want to introduce her. Like I said, she's one of my best friends in wrestling. Probably my first friend
I think so, yeah.
I ever had in wrestling. Probably with what? The first
just
2
in wrestling,
weeks?
not in life. No,
Well, I
I'm
mean,
just
like,
kidding.
the first friend I ever made, because if I'm honest, when I first started training, I thought, wow, I will never have a friend.
It's scary.
Yeah, because I
very
thought
scary.
everybody was different than me.
I remember your first day too.
Yeah, and I was super quiet, and I was like, oh my god, I'm never going to have a friend. But without further ado, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey friends, so I'm Jenna. I wrestle under the name Angelica. Yeah.
And you primarily wrestle out of Lethbridge?
Lethbridge now. I did start in MPW in Edmonton, as you can remember. I'm mostly in Lethbridge now, running Calgary and Red Deer and all over Alberta. So, yeah.
And you most recently did BC too, hey?
I have been to BC a couple times for All-Star out there. My last trip out there, I wrestled Joey Ryan. It was the funnest match I've ever had. And I've been around here and there. Been to Manitoba a few times, so.
Making your way.
Making my rounds,
Making your way.
Trying to get out there.
Okay, before we go any further, I need to ask, what do you think is the hardest part of being a woman in wrestling?
Oh man, I swear you come up with these questions before you even start this. That's rude. The hardest part.
I can go first if you want.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
I think the hardest part is when I tell people, like, not just in wrestling, say I'm out and about and I introduce myself and I'm like, oh hey, yeah, I'm a pro wrestler. People look at me and they expect me to either be jacked,
Okay.
or big, like, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like bigger. And they look at me and they're like, "You're like, really?"
They don't believe you.
They don't believe me. Like, they legit do not believe me. And my best friend, she always says I'm her best party trick because you don't know a lot of people. Before I even started wrestling, I honestly didn't know a single person that was in pro wrestling.
I had no idea there were even promotions in Alberta. I never went to a show before I started going, and just hearing about it was like,
Yeah.
oh, really? This is a thing?
It's funny because I always say this, well, not always, but I kept it a secret until I was comfortable enough to say it. But my first ever indie show was my first show I debuted on.
Yeah, okay.
Never
gotcha.
went to an indie show before, and I went and I had no idea what to expect. But it's like the best party trick because people don't believe you,
They wouldn't
or
believe
they're
you,
just
no.
really interested.
I'd say, yeah, when I tell people about it, they ask me a bunch of questions like pro wrestling, like what do you mean? Like, is it fake, like on TV, or is it the Olympic wrestling? So,
Yes! People always ask me, oh, so you want to go to the next Olympics? I'm
Yeah,
like,
they're like,
what?
oh, you're on WWE? No, it's much more than just that. So I guess that would be a hard part for sure.
Yeah, definitely people believing that you're actually in it until they see like a picture or a video and you're like, oh yeah, this is me. It's funny because I had 2 family reunions this summer. So on my dad's side's a little bit less conservative than my mom's side.
Okay.
So when I went to this family reunion, like, oh, what do you do? And I basically said, oh, well, I devote a lot of my time to pro wrestling. And they were like, whoa, they didn't really believe me, right? They didn't really believe me. And it's funny because an hour later, one of my like third cousins comes up to me and like takes her phone, turns it to me, and it's like, is this you?
Yeah.
And it was a picture of me kicking the Irishman in the face.
Well, there you go. I remember that picture. That's
yeah,
beautiful.
and I was like, how did you find that, first of all? And I think she just basically like Facebooked me, and I was on Facebook, and then they believed me after that because they saw me actually doing it. But I think it's just like people actually believing that you do it.
Oh no, and it's hard when you first tell somebody and they have no idea what you're talking about until you tell them what it really is, and they still don't really know.
That's like my hardest part. And then I think, well, you've always been kind of like into the fitness part.
Trying to be, yeah.
Especially like the last few years, right?
Yeah, I got into fitness. Actually, back in 2011, I watched my sister compete in a bodybuilding competition, and I was really motivated by that to do whatever I could to step on stage. I dropped 100 pounds and just have been competing ever since, and I love it. So that part of pro wrestling is kind of easy for me because people can see all my muscle and be like, yeah, okay, I can see you as a wrestler. But to think of the hardest part as being a woman wrestler, I would say it's keeping up with the guys. Because you and I, we both train with guys. We started training with guys. So it's just, and you learn so much from them, especially in the wrestling aspect. So just keeping up with them, I think, is pretty tough. But it's a lot of fun.
Well, I think we were at, I don't want to say an advantage, but the fact that, we did train with guys. Mm-hmm. And in that aspect, I feel like it was easier to kind of gain respect from them. Like, I've never had a hard time gaining respect from other wrestlers. It's the people that don't know about wrestling that I don't want to say a hard time gaining respect from, but, especially, like, Pride's told me before, like, I really wanted to be your friend or whatever at the beginning because he saw how much I wanted to train and I wanted to get in there, and it kind of, like, made them respect you because you aren't, I don't want to say fluffy.
Definitely. No,
but,
I know what
like,
you mean.
not fluffy, yeah.
You're coming into this as a woman wrestler, not as a fan or somebody just wanting to watch you, want to get in the ring, you want to train. And that's what I remember about your first day, too, is I knew we were going to be really good friends because you were in there, you were so motivated just to get in with us and try everything. Try all these crazy things that we were doing, and you loved it. So.
Well, and that's like, the biggest thing is when I did start and we met, you were super friendly towards me, and I had a feeling in the back of my head even before was I didn't think people would like me, like I said. So I was like, oh my God.
That is one of the hardest
they're
things.
They're not gonna like me. But then now it's like, I've some of my best friends have derived from wrestling.
Definitely.
And I've only really had like one bad experience with another like woman wrestler.
Okay. It's difficult. When I first got into it too, I remember thinking what the other women were gonna be like.
Yeah.
Like the guys were all welcoming and the girls were too. I just, in the back of my mind, had this, I thought everybody was going to have a vendetta against me. It was never going to be good enough, but it's a complete different world.
Well, it's like, did you play any like team sports before wrestling?
Never. No.
No team sports?
No, wrestling is my very first thing that I've done besides bodybuilding. But I've never did any sports when I was younger or anything, so it was a big jump for me.
Well, it's kind of, I'm glad that I did do team sports like my whole life. This is the most, I don't even want to call it individualistic sport, but it's the most individualistic sport I've ever done.
For sure. Because
I've never done a sport that wasn't like...
team-related?
Yeah, team-related. Like I played hockey, basketball, soccer, and you could even qualify track because relay's a team sport in track. So it's like everything I've done was team-related. Like there was no less than... Well, I guess track was the smallest team related, so 4 of us, but regardless, like, I always did team sports, so when I came here, I thought of it all as a team, because if I'm being honest, like, when you still lived in Edmonton, and before we lost our training facility, long story short, you're the person that I trained with the most.
Definitely, yeah.
Like, hands down. There. Yeah, so, like, every time, because you were there we were there almost every single day together,
Oh, that was so long ago.
Yeah, it was over a year ago.
That's crazy.
That's weird to think,
we
right?
had so short to train together, and then that fell off for the longest time. And I'm so glad
Yeah.
we're back in the ring together, and we can get back at
I
doing things we
almost-
always talked about.
Yes,
right?
okay, because, okay.
Like,
when-
finally I get to be a bad girl. And yeah,
That
we
was the
can-
one thing. I'm like, man, I want to be your tag team partner.
Yeah.
I want to do this with you. But it was weird because I was even saying, because we had an kind of, I don't want to call it impromptu match last week, but it was pretty
It was
short
surprising.
notice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was very excited when I found out about that. And yeah, unexpected for sure, but super, super happy about that.
Just to like catch people up. Okay, so last week I was asked to be part of this 3-show, I guess, mini tour, if
I
you can
guess so,
qualify
yeah.
it as a mini tour, for a company that I've never worked for, but you have started to work
I
with
just
them like a
started-
few months ago.
Actually, a month ago. So before last week, it was the last month that I just started with them as well. And very tough decision, but I'm trying to branch out more. So no, I'm very glad that I did. And yeah.
Yeah, with RCW.
Yeah.
And then I heard you were going to be in a match, and it was going to be a triple threat. And I just remember texting you, being like, hey,
Yeah.
guess who
Guess what's happening?
Guess who gets to fight you in 3
Yeah.
days from now, or
I
whatever.
didn't believe
like,
you. No, I did not believe it until I saw the poster. I was like, what? No, we don't actually get
No
to be in the
way.
ring again.
Because it's been, that was a week ago.
Yeah.
It's been almost a year.
Did you do the math? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because we had our last singles match together, which was just our last match in general together.
Ever.
Was in November, I think. Because we had 2 matches, I think, in November, didn't we? Or October, November, maybe?
I think it was, back to back. Yeah, and those
Yeah.
were the only matches that we had, so.
No, I think we had 3, didn't we? No, 2.
We went in Edmonton.
Yeah. But regardless, it was,
It was a triple threat in Edmonton, and then the 2 in.
no, it was a fatal 4-way. That was my
you're
first
right,
ever
you're right.
match.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll get to that. But no, that was the last match we ever had. It was 9 months ago.
Wow.
And I was like, I didn't believe it. I said, someone asked me, they're like, oh, you've wrestled Jenna tons. And I'm like, I've wrestled her like 3.5
Same.
times.
I get it all the time. Everybody thinks that we just grew up in this together and we wrestled every single day, every single weekend, but no. We
Who said that?
Everybody here.
They just have that,
Yeah.
like-
any company I go into, they're like, oh, you know KJ Cash. You guys are wrestling. You guys go way back. It's like, yeah, she's my friend, but we've only actually had 3 matches together, which is...
Well, it's like if you count all the training crap we did, okay, we've had like 300 matches,
But that was cut short a long time ago as well.
it was, because we really only trained, so when I started training, it was January 2017, and I met you my very first day.
Was that? Okay.
Yeah, so it was 2017.
That was after I went to Storm then.
It was, because you went to Storm. Okay, I guess this is a good time to bring it up. So you first went to Storm in what month or year?
Oh gosh. So Massive broke me in the summer before you came, and then I went to Storm from September to December, and I just got back a month before you came to MPW.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I just got back from Storm.
So you started with them in like fall of 2016? Or
Yeah.
with Storm, I mean?
Yeah, Storm was 2016 in September to December, and then got back and was back with MPW from December on.
So I have to ask, what...
in January.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I showed up right in the beginning of January, because it was almost like a New Year's resolution.
Oh, okay. Was that
I've
what
never...
started?
Yeah, I've never done a New Year's resolution. I don't know if
Ever.
you've been... I don't know, some people are like, oh, I hate that, I'm never going to
big
do this.
onto them. I love setting goals and just trying to better yourself. Like, I love that, all that crap, so I always set them every year. But, so wrestling was your resolution?
Yeah, for 2017, because I graduated from school in 2016, and then I just worked full-time for basically, like, 7 months.
Yeah.
And it was kind of around Christmas time where I was just so tired of my life that I'm like, and I was just, like, wanting something new, and I'm like, what am I going to do? And I don't know why wrestling, I just decided it. Because I wanted to do it in high school.
Oh,
I was
did
like,
you?
oh, like, when I graduate high school, I'll wait till I'm 18. Because when I graduated high school, I was just turning 17.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to wait till I'm 18, so the following winter, and I like, and then I'll maybe look at that. But soccer kind of consumed my whole life. That's just another story.
Yeah, you were big into soccer.
Yeah, so I was going to go, like I said, long story short, I was going to go away for school, and I stopped watching TV. So that's when I stopped watching wrestling and just TV in general.
Okay.
And I stopped watching until, fall of 2016. And then I messaged,
decided.
MPW, and...
How did you find MPW?
Okay, so it's funny, because I wanted to go to Storm.
I remember you saying that.
His wait list was so long.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure, like, I'm never gonna do this.
I got in very
Right.
last minute with them. It was
Really?
lucky.
Was it like a cancellation?
There was, yeah. I was on a wait list for the summer, and then a month before the session was starting, he emailed me and says, "Hey, I got a spot. Do you want it?" So I was lucky in that.
Damn, so you just jumped then, hey?
Oh yeah, I'm going.
Oh, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to your first training, because I have to bring up
no.
first training sessions.
That's the worst.
Because I feel like you're the only person I can talk to about this, because it's pretty recent, I think. Because we're still babies.
Yeah.
You've been around for 2 years. I've been around for a year and a half. We're still babies in this.
Oh yeah.
It's weird, right?
It
But
seems like forever though. That's just because we wanted to do it forever. So now it's.
well, it's like, how did you hear about MPW though? You just knew it from people?
I knew it from some people who worked for different promotions when I was first learning about all of the promotions at Edmonton. MPW was the last one I heard about. And the first time I met Sean, he was very welcoming. And I just felt really, really comfortable around the guys, and they let me come in and try a few things. And then he knew I was going to Storm, so he taught me a few things before I went there. He taught me how to bump. He taught me how to take
Oh, nice.
a couple
Okay,
of moves.
cool.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Because
Yeah,
didn't you
he
do
was-
a mini camp? Was that you that
I
did
did a
one?
mini
Okay.
camp, yeah, with, oh no, there was a bunch of the guys in there who are still around today, like
Really?
Lumberjack Larry. He was in my very first mini camp. Yeah.
What a guy.
Oh man, it was so much fun. I did the mini camp with them, and then I went to Storm, and when I was finished there, I went right back. But I've always wanted
Wow.
to do it. Like, I've watched wrestling since I was little, and then once high school hit, it wasn't cool to watch wrestling as a girl anymore.
It's like weird, yeah, right?
Yeah, so
Almost
then
like you're judged.
Exactly.
Did you feel judged?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fell off of that, so then after high school and after a part of my life, I was like, you know what, let's just get back into this and try it. And I'm really glad I did. So.
Well, it's just so weird because I don't know what I would be doing right now if I didn't start training.
Right?
I
Yeah.
like, where will I be? Like, who knows? I might have gone back to school and been just unhappy.
You might be
with
like the biggest soccer star ever.
if I took my scholarship, I probably would have. I probably would have
Right?
been in Europe. I always say that. I'm like, yeah, I probably would be in Europe.
No, don't
Or
think like
Australia.
that. No.
My best friend always gets mad when I bring this up because she's like, you would have never met me because we met first year university.
Oh, okay.
So if I went to school in the States, we would have never met.
No, you can't think
Yeah.
that way. You are where you're meant to be.
It's so true. It's so weird to think that way.
What is this saying? It's like, whatever happens for you, or, sorry. I don't remember what it is. I'll have to find it.
Basically, like, kind of almost ascension of, like,
Cut
what's meant to
this.
be will be kind of a thing.
Kind of. I have to find this quote for you. It's really good.
Find the quote.
Yeah.
But before that, when I found MPW, because you kind of found it through, like, chance almost, I guess, right?
I guess so.
Like, you
Kinda
fell
just
into it
hearing-
almost?
Hearing for people, yeah.
I Googled the crap
Did
out
you?
of wrestling schools. Like, the crap out of it for probably 2.5 months. And I even did it while I was at work when I probably shouldn't have been. But I'd literally be like, so I worked with, it was just me working, and then I worked with one other guy, and I had like my computer and just doing random crap. And he would leave and go do something, and I'd be like, hey, go to my computer, I'm Googling more, because I'd just be standing there thinking about what I could be doing instead of this.
Definitely.
And I was just so unhappy with, like, my job and, like, my full-time job, and I was like, ugh, don't want to do this. I just felt like it would be wasted, I don't want to say wasted potential, but I just wanted to, like, know if I was going to be good at it or terrible at it.
I'm glad you tried it.
I am too, because I feel like it helped my confidence in life.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's
And now
another-
I feel like I know you're constantly changing,
Yeah.
but I feel like I know who I am a little bit better now, and
I
what
would
I can
agree
be.
with that. It's crazy how wrestling can kind of connect you to other people, but connect you with yourself and know what you really want and what you love. It's great. I found the quote.
Okay.
It's, what misses you is never for you, and what is for you never misses you. So you can't think that you would be in Europe or Australia or somewhere because you're here,
True.
and you're wrestling, and we get to wrestle again, and it's...
That's, like, my favorite thing.
yeah.
Just to, like, think about it, because, like, I met you, and I've met some of, like, my best friends through it, so I just wouldn't take it back for anything at the moment.
Same.
Even though it's, like, I hurt all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But it's, like, I love it so much. Like, when I walk back from some matches and I just start bawling, I'm like, oh, God.
It's great. Yeah, and now you're RCW's women's champion. I don't know if you can say that. Or
Yes, you can.
Envy is okay. Envy is RCW's women's champions.
Yeah, okay, let me just throw it out there. Like, because we talk about sisterhood sometimes, and, like, how you have a bond with people.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that you were in that match.
Oh no,
Like,
I am too.
I was glad that, I feel like it wouldn't have been, I don't want to say as satisfying, but I feel like it wouldn't have been as fulfilling if it was
Okay.
against, like, a random.
That's so sweet.
You know what I mean? So it's, like, against you, and I'm like,
It's so crazy how this happened, how it was just like last minute. And it's like, hey, here's your match. Here, it's KJ. And I'm like, what? What's happening? It's like, oh yeah, then there's a title belt. It's like, what? What is this?
I remember standing there, because he told us, like, 2 hours before our match?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, by the way, when you go over, you're, like, winning the title. And I remember you turning your head and looking at me like, wait, what?
What's happening?
What's happening? Yeah, like, what's going on?
It's so crazy where women's wrestling is going, and it's amazing.
I'm just glad that people kind of can recognize it for what it is.
Yeah, and take us seriously.
And yes, that's the one thing, right? And I feel like with some indie wrestling, they're either on one end of the spectrum or they're on the other.
Yeah.
And I feel like you and I, in particular, probably wouldn't wrestle for a company that didn't respect us. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, I just wouldn't be able to do it. But okay, on a lighter side of things, do you remember your first training session?
My very first training session would be that mini camp with MPW. It was a weekend.
Okay, so do you remember your first bump?
My first bump was in their smaller ring, if you remember it.
Oh, of course I remember that ring.
You bumped into, yeah.
I bumped in the other one.
Oh, did you? The pillow ring? You were lucky.
Oh, no, the white one. Which one are you talking about? Because MPW had two training rings.
The small blue one with all the boards that were sticking out. Yeah, that was my first bumping ring.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, before we got the nice big pillow ring. Yeah.
Yeah, I bumped in the white one.
I remember. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the bigger one. I think it was 20 by 20 or something. Yeah,
that was a nice one. That's a dream. But no, my first bump, yeah, it was scary. It was so scary. Just kind of being in there and everybody watching you, and then just feeling like you do this, this, and this, and then you just go. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Coming from a background of never playing sports, never doing anything really physical, I'm like, hey, I can go lift all these weights, but you want me to fall and not die? Okay. But
well, I think it was like the free falling part.
Oh, yeah.
Is that I had a hard time with just like letting go.
Yeah. I found that was fine. What freaked me out the most was the whole flipping, the flip bump. I couldn't wrap my head around that. It took me forever, but that was my goal before I went to Storm, is to do my first flip bump. So when nobody was there one day, I just kind of went in and was like, I gotta do this.
Just did it.
And I had my roommate at the time take a video of me, so I have a video of me doing my first flip bump, and I'm like,
do you still have it?
I do have it. It's embarrassing.
Because you're like looking at, you're like, you look like an awkward turtle.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's pretty. But no,
It's just so weird to think, because I did really well, I think, for my bumps on my first day. But then my second day, it was like I forgot, and I was almost afraid to do it.
Oh, really?
And it sucked. Probably for another 2 weeks, I was just terrible.
But my first sore?
I didn't bump that first week, so he made me bump. He bumped the hell out of me my first night. And he's like, you're going to do 10 in a row. I was like, oh, crap. Did him, whatever. He's like, you're good for the rest of the week. You can bump next week.
Huh.
Bumped next week, and I couldn't wrap my head around lifting my feet up to fall.
Gotcha.
And I kept, almost like one foot was glued to the ground.
I remember that, actually.
And
I remember the name he called you to. Yeah, I remember all of this.
I just couldn't do it. Like, I don't know why. Like, mentally, my brain wouldn't let my foot rise.
Yeah,
and I kept getting so mad, and that's just, like, the pressure I put on myself. I put way too much pressure on myself to be, like, really good. Yeah, and it's just annoying, but that was my first,
I remember your first days.
And it's weird to think now, because I always thought, I'm like, you'll be good at this okay one day. Like, you'll be fine. You'll know what you're doing one day, but you just need to get through this part.
Yeah.
And then you'll be comfortable. Like chain wrestling. Chain wrestling almost made me quit.
It was hard.
There was too much to know.
And, like, watching all these guys who do it perfectly and so smoothly, and just these real wrestlers. That's what I had a hard time wrapping my head around, was just watching them and getting so caught up in their matches, and everything they did was beautiful, and I just wanted to be like them one day. So I've had a lot of amazing people that I learned from, and I learned so much from wrestling with you too, and training with you, so I'm super grateful that you were
Well, and I
always
feel
there.
like when you have somebody that's willing to try stuff, instead of kind of being a little stubborn ass. Just like,
I get you.
because we've had quite a few, not just girls, but just guys too. Like, I've had guys that just didn't want to wrestle me.
Yeah.
Because they were, like, either afraid,
I had guys who were scared of me. Yeah, they wouldn't want to get in the ring with me. That's,
I remember, like, it was almost insulting.
It's...
Because I was like, are you afraid you're going to hurt me, or are you afraid I'm going to hurt you?
Right? Yeah.
And they wouldn't answer me ever, and I'm like, I think you're afraid I'm going to hurt you.
Yeah.
But it's like, Sean's not going to get mad. Like, our trainers aren't going to be mad if you, like, stiff us a little. Like, get over it.
And I like that kind of training, too. Like, down in Lethbridge, the guys, they don't take it easy on me. They treat me just like another guy, and that's where I'm learning the most. That's where everything's just coming together. So, a big shout out to them. Thanks for stiffing me.
Thanks for stiffing me. Thanks for being a dick.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Thanks for taking my punches to the face.
Well, it's like one thing I always miss is training.
Yeah.
Like, I loved training, and I think it was just the routine of it.
Do you get together with any of the guys to train?
I come down here.
Okay.
And yeah, I come to Red Deer because they have a training ring.
Yeah.
And I try to do that, but then now that the scheduling is really busy.
Oh, it's picked up.
Yeah, especially like even your schedule's pretty busy now, but my schedule now is almost like it's every weekend. Just about every weekend, and it will be coming up every weekend.
Oh, that's great.
Unless like I change it, but I kind of want it to be every weekend.
Good.
Because in my mind, I'm like, I just want to wrestle everybody.
Oh, that's good.
And take everybody's like bookings if I can. Like, I just want to wrestle everybody.
There was a time that I kept messaging you. I was like, what are you doing this weekend? Just hoping to get you down to Lethbridge, but
finally, hopefully it happens.
There, yeah.
But yeah, like it just because it always went in the company that I left. Their weekends were always in the same weekends and same nights. Yeah. So it's like it would be easier if it's like always Saturday.
There's a couple conflicting, but I think we're working that out now. So I'm really excited to have you down on Lethbridge and work some things out in the ring with you. And
well, it's kind of also because I don't think. Well, lately we've had a lot more newer girls.
Yeah, there's been a lot. Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to try new things when you have new girls coming up through like the indies in like Western Canada, because. I was like this too, obviously. It wasn't that long ago that I was really, really green. Like, I'm still green, but, like, not, fresh out the training ring. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just kind of like now I'm more willing to, hey, throw me into the crowd, like, do stuff like that, right?
Exactly.
Where it's like you can't go past, just be a little bit more creative is what I'm trying to say, right?
Steele and I did my first cage match a couple months ago, so it was ridiculous. I never thought that I would be in a cage match, so...
That was something I was super jelly about when I saw it, because I said, it's not against me!
Yeah, I know, right? It was
I'm so mad.
One of the funnest matches ever, and we've got some good ideas for the future, the very near future, so...
I love it.
If you're up for it.
Tune in to next week's Double Down Wrestling podcast with KJ for part 2 of this interview with independent wrestler Angelica, as they talk about the independent wrestling scene in Alberta, as well as KJ talking about the first round of the Mae Young Classic, along with all the goings in women's wrestling. But on behalf of KJ Cash, this is Backbreaker Media senior producer Mike Maloney, reminding you that if you're going to have a false finish, make sure you always hit the double down.